Welcome back, everybody, to another round of the Limitless Invitational Qualifier. Here we have our Ross Cawthon once again offering us one of his wonderful games with ADP Spiritomb, the rogue deck of the previous the previous Invitational that is also terrorizing this current Invitational. And look at this. He has a pretty decent start, starting with a Jirachi, a Spiritomb, and more cards that they can work with. If he's able to find the ADP turn 1, that would be really great for him. And today I'm joined again by the wonderful Philip Schultz. How you doing, Philip?
Great, and I'm really excited for this game. Ross, of course, has been doing amazing in this tournament. Again, he's our backup stream right now. We wanted to show Nico Alabas versus
Mario Barbera, I think.
the Danish,
against
the Danish
the
player.
Danish person, yes.
Yeah, both were 4-0 in the day,
right.
and at a 13-4 record right now. So in a really good position to make top 8, and yeah, close to a win and in. But unfortunately, both players didn't respond on for us to smash, so we had to jump to our backup game once again. So this time we're seeing Ross Cawthon again, but of course Ross has been doing amazing in this tournament as well.
Indeed. And remember, everyone, we have 2 more rounds. We might have to show still the same people. However, then when the top begins, we will be able to have all these people around, and we'll be able to pick the most exciting matchup. So for now, actually, we have something more classic, such as an ADP against ADP Zacian against ADP Spiritomb. But we already talked about this matchup. And I think on stream we saw ADP Spiritomb win more often. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty sure it did. I guess the ADP Spiritomb players are really well prepared for this matchup, and maybe the ADP Zacian players are just not able to adapt fast enough. Because
Indeed.
Yeah,
they don't have any healing sources, which I think will be really good in this matchup. Removing that shrine damage, being able this game a lot. This ADP Spiritomb has become famous by controlling the damage on its own board and be able to dish out so much damage in just one turn.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things for the matchup could be a chaotic swell. If you were just able to keep the Shrine of Punishment out of play, that would be really helpful, because what Ross is always doing is using the Shrine to soften up their opponent's ADP while healing his own, and then he just needs one, and then he can take an easy knockout with his Spiritombs, and then it's so easy for him to follow up with a Spiritomb knockout on anything.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And we see that ADP decks don't play anymore the heavy copies of Chaotic Swells, because it's not necessary anymore. Power Plant is not a thing. It doesn't suffer it anyway. So the game shifted a lot, and we see right now. Well, Ross had a pretty slow start, and this might be also the difference when you don't have a Zacian in your deck as a partner. His hand is pretty thin right now, and there's nothing exciting going on there, but he still has the Jirachi, so next turn he needs to draw something good.
Yep, certainly. That's, as you said, the Interpret Sword is just such a great early game tool, whereas Ross really needs to find a Professor's Research with one of his Jirachis on the next turn.
Indeed.
If he does.
As well, Ross needs to keep up with the pressure that will be put on by this Zacian that already has 2 energies. If the opponent is able to get attacked this turn, this might be even scarier than a Altered Creation GX on turn 2. However, we see an energy spinner getting grabbed at the opponent. It's very interesting as well, the dynamics of playing a more aggressive version with the as we saw before with Mono Zacian. But here, instead, this Zacian ADP player, he's just going for the attacking with Zacian, probably just committed his energy attachment for turn. And wow, even a custom catcher, that's really big.
Yeah, and
do you think he will go for the ADP or not?
Oh no, for the Spiritomb now. That's an interesting choice. I would have expected him to go for the ADP.
Me too. He probably thought, I know you have Jinxes, I know you will put Shrine just when you need it, so for what it's worth, I'll just target down this attacker.
Yeah, the main reason I think I would have gone for the ADP is that Ross hasn't played a supporter in his last turn. So, and he has 2 cards in his hand, so he has very little he can do, and if that ADP is able the odds are high that he won't have access to a Stellar Wish. And by knocking out the Jirachi, you know that he will send up, knocking off the Spiritomb, you know that he will send up a Jirachi and will be able to use Stellar Wish. So if you just drag up the ADP, I think you would have had pretty good odds for Ross to not be able to do anything.
Philip, I actually didn't think of that, and that's definitely another level of play. There's also he would have drawn a tackle, which would have not gave him anything since he doesn't play or maybe it's in the prizes. I'm not
He
sure.
does play Cynthia Catlin, but
That
I
plays
guess
in
it's
Catlin, right?
Yeah.
So pretty unfortunate as well for Ross. He's pretty much stuck in this hard spot, but now he has access to Jirachi. So you're absolutely right. If he would have captured that ADP, it would have been even harder now for Ross to get out of this. Let's see what he gets off this Stellar Wish.
Yep. Yeah, now he's still in. I mean, taking out the Spiritomb also has merit to it. It sets Ross behind and removes attackers. And of course, he doesn't play any Pokemon recovery. So if you can take out a couple of Spiritombs, that will put Ross in a really awkward position where he doesn't have a great attacker.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And let's see if he wants to go right now for like he doesn't have the second energy to have the ADP, but does he want to go for a Dedenne maybe? He could dump his hand. There's nothing insane going on there, but there's even a Rainbow energy right now.
Yeah, and I guess he wants to go for Rainbow just to guarantee him the Earthed Creation. Now he probably, I guess in this position he doesn't really need to use the Dedenne right away, but it also doesn't hurt him that much.
He already used the supporter so he can keep it out for the next third. In this way he dodges a possible swing back knockout by capturing up the Dedenne from that Zacian, which might be massive considering he benched the ADP and it's now on the active. So yeah, he needs to be mindful about that as well. But overall, like look at that, Altered Creation turn 2. I think Ross is pretty much set this game. He has 2 Jirachi, however, that might be a bit hindering.
Yeah, for sure.
Throughout the game.
And
but overall, it's a good start.
Yeah, if he's forced to use the Dedenne next turn, his spot's gonna be really awkward because he's gonna have the Dedenne and a useless Jirachi, so 2 Pokemon that don't do anything. And of course, every one of those limits the amount of Jinx and Spiritomb he can use. So this could turn out to be a really awkward game for Ross. And if his opponent, if Gianmaria is also opting to not go for ADP, which seems like a pretty good strategy right now, because
Indeed.
Yeah, but ADP is just an easy 4 prizes for Ross. So if you just go for Zacians and force your opponent to get more attackers and get more knockouts, that might be a pretty good play from him.
Exactly. So the opponent's name is Gianmaria. He's from Italy as well. And there we go. He had a pretty. I really like the idea of attacking with Zacian right away. Really put him some pressure on Ross already precarious situation. And right now, can you line up another attack on this ADP? Possibly this ADP as well will never be knocked out because of the Jinx every turn moving the damage. However, it's still 230 damage on that Pokemon.
Yeah.
So yes, it's definitely a way to go if he doesn't have a possibility to catch her up. For example, the Spiritomb in the bench. But no, he just goes for an Intrepid Sword. Interesting.
Yeah, so it seems like Gianmaria not drawing too hot here, not having a switch option. Of course, that swings swings things back in Ross' favor. He also gets the energy here, so he still doesn't have to use the Dedenne here. He can just he can just keep preparing his Spiritomb. He can take 2 prizes here. And
exactly.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's what he's also gonna do. And then it's getting slowly harder for Gianmaria to get back into the game here. As Ross will be ahead in the prize trade again and already has the Spiritomb on his bench, which is
the Spiritomb is just looming. And right now there is another thing to notice, which is that Gianmaria cannot really bench the ADP because now the Spiritomb, if it's able to charge up enough damage on it, can one-shot it with having 8 damage counters on it plus the buff. Sure. He does so by using that big charm tool. He actually decided to attach the energies on this Jirachi. It's worth it after all, considering he doesn't play any darkness basic energies. Yep. But yeah, overall, Ross seems like with a rough start, overall took him on top. Yeah. See if Gianmaria can flip that.
And also, Gianmaria doesn't play any Absol, so there's not much reason to attach the energies to spread them on Jirachis. You won't need them for retreating, and that Jirachi now can use Slap. which can be, I mean, it's 60 damage, but it can be
60
relevant.
damage. It knocks out dolls, I guess, but I'm pretty sure Gianmaria doesn't play them. But there's a catcher wolf, even a
Yeah,
tails. That's
but
rough.
maybe
Obviously, he
if
needs to target down the spirit tombs. Can he is the question. Can he do it successfully every turn? He needs to line up these Brave Blade attacks.
yeah, also targeting those Spiritoms. Now, I don't know if that's what's gonna give him the win, because with ADP and the Jirachi are decent attackers right now. So like something like an Ultimate Ray plus a Slap can take a knockout on a Zacian. And yeah, so that
So
way,
yeah,
yeah, Ross won't be needing that many attackers to close out this game.
I'm looking at the Gianmaria's list. Looks pretty standard overall. He does play for custom catchers, 2 Pokemon catchers. However, he does not play any Metal Frying Pans. It's a card I really enjoy in ADP Zacian. It just gives you, extra HP, and in this case, you would be not be knocked out by a slap, which is quite taunting overall. But there we go. Let's see where he goes from here.
Yeah, and it will be really hard for him to come back into this game. Now he's finally targeting with ADP. Certainly, yeah, a reasonable play. Right now it's by far Ross's best attacker, and Ross still doesn't have anything on his board
He
except...
probably will be forced to bench his Dedenne.
Yeah, perhaps. Or I guess he could also go for a Spiritomb, just charge up another attacker on the bench. But yeah, grabbing the ADP here shows that he will look. Yeah, that he will probably go for the Spiritomb, and I guess it makes a lot of sense
He wants
because
to go for the knockout.
yeah, if he just draws any energy, he already has the Hustle Belt, then he can retreat and take the knockout. So it makes sense to go for
The
that
energy count is getting dangerously low, however, for those Spiritums. There's only 3 energies, I think, in the deck.
for sure.
Obviously, it's not really a win condition for Gianmaria, but it can hurt Ross if he misses the energy of 1 turn, but he doesn't here.
Yep. He does have energy, however, he doesn't have a switch, so I'm not sure if he wants to sacrifice his energies on his ADP. He might rather try to flip a catcher heads and take a knockout on the Orangurus and then just finish off the game with the Spiritomb.
So he has 25% of failing
Yeah, because
to catcher.
because if he just retreats his ADP here, then his Spiritomb will get knocked out by anything basically, and then he's left without any attacker and only 1 bench space, so that could open up a way for Gianmaria to get knocked out.
That catcher just solves the problem.
Yeah, exactly. That catcher has
There's the knockout with the ultimate ray.
This is
Yeah,
like
you see, like, it's these flip cards that really change the game. Like, gust effects have been existing in Pokemon since the base set, and they just show how incredible powerful they are.
yep. And yeah, this
Yeah,
is
so we'll just
the
go to 2 prizes.
perfect scenario for Ross. Going down to 2 prizes and having his Spiritomb ready now, debating if he wants to attach, but decides that a catcher is less of a problem than a reset stamp or a Mani. So just gonna prepare that Spiritomb and taking the knockout.
Exactly. Perfect position here for Ross. I'm looking through Gianmaria's deck list right now.
Yeah.
There is not much that can turn him back, except Ross maybe missing out on knockouts, but that's really hard as well. And missing maybe on all the catchers. He really needs a lot of luck right now, Gianmaria.
Yep. He still has Manis in his deck, and he probably has gusting effects. He plays 2 catcher and 4 custom catcher, so a quite high amount of gusting. So if he can drag up that Spiritomb and get a knockout there, that might put him back into the game.
I think
But
that's
yeah.
the way to go, really.
Yeah, however, even then he was still pretty far away from winning.
And once again, we saw the ADP hitting the bench right now, but it's pretty much useless at this point. Doing the GX will just make you lose 2 turns because you need to attach the energy for both the turns. He does play, however, 3 energy switch. So maybe if he's able to GX right now, he could have a chance. But this just goes to show how bad it is for ADP decks to miss the ultimate creation on turn 2. That attack is so important for them. It's just the base of its deck. And when it misses, the deck just falls apart.
Exactly, and now he's targeting with the Dedenne, so he probably needs to do something with his ADP, because otherwise the Spiritomb will just knock him out.
For the money,
And
probably
yeah.
looking for that energy and energy switch. Does he
Yep.
find it? He really needs to do it. Oh my god, Ross! Those are free switches! You say, nope, you're not doing this. There is an skateboard, Chaotic Swell, plus the Dana. He's really digging for this water energies. Does he find it? There it is, there it is. The game is still open for grabs.
Yeah, however, this using the GX attack here still means that he will be 2 turns away from winning.
Yeah, and we know that Ross has that switch, so it's really dicey, really, really dicey. It really depends on the flips that that Ross will do, but at the same time, that Spiritomb is gonna one-shot the Zacian, and if this ADP is gonna take damage this turn, that means any single one of Gianmaria's Pokemon will be knocked out.
Exactly, so if Ross just gets a hit with his ADP here, that's already almost everything he needs. Of course, Gianmaria can then still like bounce back with a catcher on the Spiritomb and a knockout with Zacian.
Exactly.
Yeah, so leaving Ross in a position where he would still need a gusting effect.
I think that's the only way for him to get out of this. And then we see Ross just flipping around Jirachis, just one back, one forth, and also getting this Professor Research down, drawing 7 cards. And that's the power of this new supporter. So massive, so good. It just makes deck that didn't work before now work perfectly.
Yep, however, no switch or escape out for Ross. So he probably can't go for a Stellar Wish here. He still has a lot of gadgets in his deck, so he's definitely fine just retreating and attacking with his ADP
Oh yeah,
here.
definitely.
Yeah. And
He
then
has 3 catchers left, so he can just... Next turn he has also Professor Research, 13 cards in deck.
Yep, and
He's pretty much granted of drawing them.
And he also has a great catcher still in his deck, so a lot of stuff. He can just attach his Big Charm here to anything, basically. Doesn't really matter. Probably play that Quick Ball and that Hustle Belt down as well, just to thin out his deck. So it doesn't really matter too much, because money doesn't shuffle your opponent's deck, so thinning isn't that important anymore.
Exactly. And right now, I think Ross will just go for the for 180.
Or he can also just go for Slap, I guess. Nah, I guess that doesn't make that much sense. He should...
Maybe he does. Oh no, he's eyeing it up, and there it is, the slap. This small Jirachi, a 1 meter Pokemon slapping the 3 gods of creation.
Interesting choice. I think going for the ADP would have made a bit more sense, because if Gianmaria now gets a knockout on the Spiritomb, that means that Ross can't finish off. I guess it doesn't matter, because he then can just gust with the Dana instead of ADP.
I think so. I think that's his line of thought.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a money from Gianmaria, and actually no, he decides to discard it. Oh, that's pretty tough, and he already has 3 custom catchers in the discard, which means there's only 1 Pokemon catcher. He also discarded the Great Catcher, so not looking good here for Gianmaria. There was a light glimpse of hope, but right now it's slowly fading away.
Yep.
There's also a Quick Ball. See what he grabs. Nothing. He needs to knock out the Spiritomb. The Spiritomb right now can dish, I think, 210?
It can do, if it just uses Build Spite once more, then it can do 250, which will just knock out anything. Yes. And exactly. That's what it's gonna do. So, yeah, Ross can now just put up the Spiritomb, use Build Spite, and take the knockout.
Indeed. So yeah, it was actually for a little like Gianmaria would come back.
Yeah,
but
actually
overall,
it's already the knockout without even building Spite, because it's already at 220. And upon is like, what? Free catcher prized and no altered creation in the early game. That seals it. As Ross Cawthon is the winner of this game and moves on to a 14-4 record. Just 1 more win gives him a chance to make top 8. 2 more wins would guarantee it. So he continues his strong run here, still in a great position. And
Great streak
yeah.
for him, and the top 8 is just becoming a reality for him. I think if he can just win the next one, he should be in automatically.
I'm not sure. Like 16 fours were guaranteed record, so he still needs to win 2 to guarantee.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, with one more win, he has a chance to bubble in. It's a bit random which records make top 8 because it's possible that the more good scores keep losing and the bad scores keep winning. So
Indeed.
it's
So
hard
yeah,
to
good
predict.
luck to him, I guess, from now onwards, and also good luck to his opponent, Gianmaria, who can still make top with enough possibilities.
Yeah, he can still get points. I think for top 8 he's already out of contention with 6 losses. He can, even if he wins the next 2, he will probably make top 16 at best. So Ross basically kicked out Gianmaria of the tournament and keeping himself alive. So yeah, of course Gianmaria can still keep going and get a lot of limitless points to maybe get into the Invitational. Anyways, that's it from us for this round. We will go to a quick break and be back with the next round as soon as possible.
See you soon.